Continuing with where I left off on the Norwegian Krag restoration, the stock is roughly shaped. In this video I'll be continuing along, removing less material and taking finer shavings this time in order to slowly approach to the finished dimensions. I'll also be using a ruler to make sure the stock is straight where it needs to be. The ruler is put against the stock and I look down into it just like this. And you can see I'm looking for high spots or low spots. Here there's a high spot right there that you can rock the ruler on. If I bring it up over here, right about there is a low spot, so I'm checking those along the way. I'll be relying on the sporter stock as a guide, using calipers and the contour gauge to compare the two. The contour gauge is better used on the new stock here, and I'll just push it in like that, and then I'll compare the same area on the sporter stock. Again, looking down at and where the light is showing at the top and the bottom, that's where material needs to be removed from the new stock. I'll also be using the calipers. Now before I had set them just wide enough to measure the width of the stock at its widest point in order to cut it. Here I can set the calipers tighter, and again I'll do this at the back near the butt plate, and I could push them down. You can see there they go down about a half an inch, and then I can do the same on this stock here. See, it doesn't go down quite nearly as much, so I'll be comparing the two using those methods. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to stop here and go over two things. First, you've seen me working on the butt area of the stock recently. I'm just trying to get that a little bit closer before I move on down the line. And to do that, I put on the butt plate so I can see how the stock flows in and fits with the butt plate. I had lines drawn, but it's a lot easier to see just how it looks when it's right on there. Now, I could continue working with this on because I want to leave the wood a little bit proud of the butt plate, but there's one area right in here which I'll mark, right, that little half moon. That's where the butt plate is pretty much flush with the wood, so I'll know not to touch that area. But everywhere else I just want to bring just slightly proud of the metal. Now, on the front of the comb here, it comes to a pretty sharp point, it tapers down from the stock, and it kind of has like a flat area right in here that has a sharp point on the front of the comb. And you can see, hopefully that shows up on the sporter stock there. Let me go this angle. You can see what I'm talking about there. So I set this angle gauge to roughly match that, and then I still have a little bit of the flat on top of the comb here, so I'll be able to use that as a reference. And I can flip it around and do the other side as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting close, the wood close to the butt plate, just still, again, a little bit proud. And then I'm just bringing it, the cuts that I do, just slowly back down into the area I already shaped. So that's the top of the butt plate. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a block sandpaper, just run it over the edge. Be very careful not to actually touch the metal of the butt plate and scratch that up. And then I'll flip it over and do the same process on the bottom. So as you can see in those clips, it's very slow going. I cut out or just didn't even record like 3/4 of it. There's a lot of removing small amounts of material, checking and repeating. It's getting to the point where you're using a finer file or sandpaper and then realizing that more material needs to come off to have the right shape. The tools really provide a ballpark, a reference to work off of. And I know this sporter stock has been sanded, so the actual dimensions would be slightly larger than they are on it. It's really more important how it feels and how the stock transitions from one area to another, such as from the comb backwards, the pistol grip to the butt plate. Does it feel right? Does it look right? And really, ultimately, that's how you know you're getting there. So that's it for this video. It's gone on long enough. I'll shape the front end in the next video.